Everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode of Tracy's Tuesday Talks. Today, we are going to talk about how to handle surprises from the IRS. Tax season is in full swing. The tax collection deadline, I believe, is on April 18th this year, and people are starting to get either tax refunds, filing their taxes, or finding out if they owe the IRS. Had a couple of clients call me in a panic. Oh my gosh, I owe the IRS. What do I do? And I've also had a couple of clients celebrate and be like, yes, I just got this little refund and it's amazing. Both are surprises, and I would love to take some time with you and just walk you through what to do if you are in either situation. Full disclosure for licensing, legal purposes, and whatnot. As a financial coach, I am not licensed to tell you what to do or give you tax advice. What this video is going to do is provide information that you might not have known so you can make a choice that's best for you in your situation. So, if you get a big refund, what is the best way to handle that? A lot of people either go out and party, they go out and buy a new couch, they go out and just blow it and have fun. And then before they know it, their hard earned money that they just got back from the government from an interest free loan is gone. So, how can you make it beneficial to you and make it work for you to further you in your financial goals? The number one thing that I would recommend is follow the baby steps. Dave Ramsey has the 7 baby steps. So if you don't have $1,000 emergency fund in place, it's recommended that you start off with $1,000 emergency fund. This emergency fund is going to be separate from your checking account, from other savings account, and you don't touch it unless the words, oh crap, fall out of your mouth and it is truly an emergency. Next thing that you could use it for is to pay off debts, listing out all of your debts from smallest amount owed to largest amount owed, and not looking at the interest rates, not looking at the monthly payment, because money is about behavior, not about math. The the next thing you could do is start paying off some of those smaller debts and get them out of your life and just be done with them and celebrate that they're gone. Yeah, you're working towards becoming debt free. Woo! After that, you can focus on putting money away into your 3 to 6 month fully funded emergency fund, and so on and so forth. Another thing that you could use your tax return for is if you have a project around the house that needs to get done, that's imperative, but you've been putting it off, or car repair work, or I even heard of a blog from a very frugal family. They took their tax return and literally bought all of their paper products, their toilet paper, paper towels, napkins, everything with their tax return for the entire year. So they didn't have to add that into their grocery budget or their household budget. It was already taken care of. So stocking up on necessities is another way to wisely use that tax refund. So here's something that might go against the grain of what people are used to hearing. If you do receive a large refund, or if you owe the IRS, I would recommend sitting down with a CPA or using the IRS calculator online and adjusting your withholdings to calculate how much tax you owe to get as small a refund as possible. Now, before you throw something at the screen at me, think about it. If you get a $2,400 a month or a year refund, think of it as you are giving the government, Uncle Sam, a free loan that you're not getting interest on. What would you do with an extra $200 per month in your paycheck? How much stress would that lift off of your shoulders? How much good could you do with it? How much further could you be in your financial goals than you are now with that extra money in your paycheck? The goal here is to make your income your biggest wealth building tool work for you, and giving it away in debt payments and giving it away to the government in an interest free loan is going to prevent you from getting there sooner. But what about those who love getting the big refund because it's almost like a forced savings account? Well, my friend, I'm going to say something that's really hard to hear. That's an issue of self discipline and self control. If you have the discipline of giving away however much money per month for the government to hang on to that you don't have access to in case of an emergency or something pops up, surely you can open another bank account somewhere in a separate bank, put that money into that separate bank account or pay off debt, whatever. And that way, that money is yours and accessible should you absolutely need it. It's there. So, for those of you who love getting the big refunds because it's like a forced savings account, I'm going to push back on that. So, what do you do if you owe the IRS and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, I don't have this money. First of all, been there, done that, got the t shirt. It sucks. It's like the pit in your stomach just rises up and you just chokes you. Owing the IRS can be scary. Owing the IRS is uncomfortable and it can bring up a lot of anxiety and fear. Guys, I've been there. It's no fun. But I want to encourage you. This is information that I wish that we had when we owed the IRS is take a deep breath. Don't panic. Okay, guys, do not panic. Here's something that I just learned from an enrolled agent who comes alongside people who owe the IRS and fights for them for debt resolution. She just messaged me a little bit ago because I had a client who was panicking, and I'm like, how do I best serve this person? And she let me know that yes, the deadline to file is April 15th or April 18th this year, but there's still a 120-day, call it a grace period. Remember, this is information. This isn't me telling you what to do. You still have 120 days before you need to set up an installment plan. You're not going to be charged. You're not going to have the IRS bust down your door within 120 days of that file date. You have that 120 days, 4 months to get what you owe paid before you need to set up a payment method. If it is going to take a little bit longer and it's going to take you about 6 months to pay back your IRS taxes, that's where setting up a short-term monthly payment or a short-term installment plan is going to help you. I was told that there's no cost to do this. It's just letting the IRS know, hey, I'm here. I'm working with you guys. Communication is so imperative when it comes to the IRS. This is you communicating with them and saying, hey, I'm paying you back, setting up an installment plan. It's going to be 6 months. Can we work something out? The IRS, unless you absolutely don't pay them or don't communicate with them, I just found out is actually really not that bad. I can't believe I just said that because I've been calling them the KJB for years. Also, you can set up a long-term payment. You would have to get on the phone, I believe, and talk to somebody at the IRS to do that. I do believe that there is a fee to do that. There will be interest and penalties occurring, I believe. Double check that information, but a long-term plan is an option. So this is great if you have a business that you owe taxes with, or if childcare somehow got screwed up and you were expecting a big refund, but something happened and you now owe. There's also another status that I'm sharing information on. There is a status called currently not collectible. That is a status where you don't pay the tax, you still owe it. It's still going to be accruing interest and penalties. You will have to owe it. You will have to pay it back. However, this stalls the IRS from doing things like garnishing your paycheck or putting a levy on your house or otherwise making sure that they get paid. That pauses that. Now, that is probably not the best scenario that you want to be in just because it is sitting there, it is growing as you owe. But if you really are in a big mess, that is an option to make sure that the roof over your head isn't taken. Lastly, if you are in that situation, I highly, highly, highly encourage and recommend you to work with an enrolled agent for the IRS. They don't work for the IRS, but they're trained to be that person, that go-between person, almost like a lawyer between you and the IRS, to go before them on your behalf to be able to resolve some of your tax issues. If you need some help, reach out to me. I've got a couple of them that I know who I trust. You can also Google them as well. Klaus agrees with me. Forgive my barking dog. All right, guys. And if you need help working out a budget to make sure that these taxes do get paid, if you need help managing your finances so you don't owe the IRS anything moving forwards, I would recommend talking to a CPA for that. But if you need to talk to somebody about how do I create the money, how do I get on a budget to be able to get this paid, I would encourage you to reach out to me for a conversation. I'd love to talk with you, and I would love to be able to walk with you through this. Thanks so much, guys. Have a blessed day, and I will see you next week.